We do press conference.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And we don't need this thing anymore because we're not going to use the computer.
Got it ready to go. Okay. Brad, you got a couple of thoughts you want to tell me about the lawsuit?
Yes, I can just say some specifics.
I think a little of both. Read about the door and how, these things are supposed to be able to get out of that kind of thing. And people need to be monitored. And you may know more about the phone than me because I'm just saying property basically go into that. It was just that 50 hours, how many people they would put in private over. Yeah.
My father-in-law died.
Keep yelling at
And it may even turn into a larger discussion.
Because that's what the corner. Yeah, and I don't think we need to say. We just say this will happen, and the coroner brought that up, and so people gonna talk about it. I'm sure they'll take it and run with it.
Okay.
Well.
It's just here.
Yeah. And we're good. Go down and get the family in just a minute. I think Paul is going to do good. I'm sure they're going to be crying out next year at clinics. We just going to settle right along here. Thank you very much.
Hey, sorry, Rich. How you doing? I was up on Fox 75. And I have a 1:30 news conference.
Try to give you some more room to one in there. You okay if I put you know what? If you need to put one right there, that'd be fine. Yeah, perfect. That should be perfect. Thank you.
muscle, like a bicep.
They had to pull it back down.
I'm sure there was some pulling on this thing, because it was pulling away from the region by the time we got surgery.
Oh, it did.
If you ever need surgery like that, go to Rush. Rush is great.
Take it.
So it's this.
Cam's office, right? Okay. And it's along the wall in the back.
You know what I would do if I was you, man? I would put it here, get everybody, so you know the city. See what I'm saying? We don't need to be focused just on that one person. Stand up there and see if your head's in shot.
Good. Thank you.
that's no, yeah, it's not, that's fine, no. Right. Yeah, why don't we just
put you right here, Miss Yvonne. And then Mr. Paul will put you right here. Mr. Paul will put you right here. Now y'all can hold the pictures up. I don't want to block her, so maybe we'll put it over there for now. Okay, is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Good afternoon. If everybody's ready, we will begin. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Brad Pollock, as well as Attorney Bill Parrish and Laura Mullins. We have the honor of representing the family of Chelsea Adolphus, a beautiful young woman who was found dead on the roof of a Waukegan, Illinois hospital. Present with us is Chelsea's family, her parents, her siblings, and their pastor, Reverend Marvin Bembry. You will hear from him and her brother, Paul Adolphus Jr., after Attorney Pollock and I address you. It's very emotional for even the lawyers because you see a lot of tragedies, but this is a god-awful, heartbreaking tragedy. We promised the family that we will get to the truth of what happened. We will get accountability for what happened, and we will get justice for Chelsea Adolphus. So this afternoon we announced that we filed a wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of the family of Chelsea Adolphus against Vista Medical Center East, located in Waukegan, Illinois, on the basis of premise liability, negligence, and medical malpractice. But as you will hear from her brother, it goes so much deeper than just those mere principles of liability. As they shared with me, they believe that the cover-up is worse than the crime. You see, this lawsuit is an epic case of profits over patience. And it is clear that they did not give Chelsea Adolphus the medical care
that was needed. They did not give her the standard of care that was needed. They failed her in many ways. Chelsea went to them for medical care, and apparently they failed her because she was found dead. And as the coroner released just yesterday, the cause of death was hypothermia due to extended exposure to cold air, cold weather. She was on that roof with only a hospital gown and her underwear. Nothing else. Nothing else. And we have ocular proof of that today. Visual evidence for you. But you will hear from her brother, Paul Jr., who went to the hospital immediately after they called her mother asking, do you know where Chelsea is? She's missing. And obviously, she was shocked by the call because she knew that her daughter was in the hospital. But when Paul got to the hospital, he got conflicting stories. And he will tell you that they told him that his sister was found 2 blocks away at the Family Dollar. We know that was not true. And so the trauma of this family not being told the truth and finding out only on social media her father about what really happened to his daughter. Her mother was called by a person who was there with her sister who was having a baby. And she told her mother that I was the one who found your daughter on the hospital roof. She was there helping her sister who was delivering her baby. And she happened to look out of the window. And when she looked out the window, she saw a body laying on the roof of the hospital, exposed to the elements. And she took a photograph of Chelsea laying on that roof of the Vista Medical Center East Hospital. And this is what she sent to Chelsea's mother and family. A picture of their daughter, their only daughter, lying face down with the hospital gown pulled up towards her neck, and she's completely exposed to the elements. And by the way the snow has built up around her, you can tell that she has been there for a substantial amount of time. And the family could only think about what was Chelsea thinking as she was lying in the snow dying, calling for them to help her, to save her. We know dying from hypothermia being froze to death is a very painful death. And so we vow to fight and get to the truth of everything that happened in this tragedy. We will get accountability. We will get justice for this hospital putting profit over patients. We want all the surveillance videos to be released. We want all the 911 calls to be released. We want all the reports of her medical records to be released so the family will know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth of how Chelsea, this beautiful young woman, ended up dying in such a horrific manner. My most able co-counsel, a great lawyer here in Chicago, is going to address you about some of the substance that we filed in our lawsuit based on those elements of negligence and of premise liability and of medical malpractice. But as I said, it goes so much deeper than that. Attorney Brad Pollack.
No person, no family member, whether that's a daughter, a son, a parent, grandparent, should ever find themselves in the position where they are in a hospital to get medical care and they walk through a door that locks behind them only to find themselves on a freezing roof of a hospital, a place where they were supposed to be getting medical treatment, and instead a place that they were locked out of and prohibited from protecting themselves based on the way that the roof was laid out. We all saw that horrific photograph, and when you look at that, you can't help ask yourself, what if that was my family member that was found out there? And sadly, the family that sits beside our legal team has to answer that that is their family member. Today we file a 6-count complaint against the Vista Hospital Medical Center and its associated entities to bring justice to this family, to bring answers to this family. It doesn't take a lawsuit to know in your heart and based upon your conscience that this should never happen to anyone. What adds insult to injury in this case is that there were people in the community sounding the alarm about this facility before this tragic event. And those are some of the things that we plan on looking into, digging into, and getting the answers for this community. We understand that this hospital is the only for-profit hospital in operation in Lake County. We understand that the coroner, Jennifer Bannock, had serious concerns about this facility. She described it as lack of care and safety measures in place that gave her great concern. We know that prior to this occurrence, the hospital furloughed 69 employees, which we understand some of those are the very types of employees that are supposed to monitor patients like Chelsea. We know that in the past, for a period of time, the facility lost its level 2 trauma designation. The family and our legal team want answers as to why, and why were they permitted to continue operating when they operated in such a fashion that this beautiful young woman, who we have to look at this startling picture of, was allowed to die on that cold roof. We'll be able to provide all of you with a copy of that complaint, but this complaint, I assure you, we assure you, is just the beginning of this endeavor, and we will not stop until all of us collectively give every answer to this family and bring justice to them.
Thank you very much, Attorney Brad Pollock and Jerry Beckerman and your whole firm for being so diligent in helping us get to the truth. She was such a beautiful young woman, had her whole life ahead of her. And it's always difficult meeting your clients in wrongful death cases where you can only have people tell you about who they were, that they were more than just a news story, that they were more than just a hashtag. So at this time, we're going to have their pastor, who has been providing spiritual guidance to the family and has been with them years before this, talk about Chelsea before I call up her brother, who is going to really tell you about how tragic, how very tragic that night was when he got to the hospital. We have Reverend Marvin Bembry to address you now. Pastor Bembry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, Attorney Crump, and to your legal team. I am Pastor Marvin Bembry, pastor of New Beginnings Ministries of Lake County, and it's been my honor to serve this family for nearly 15 years. I've been able to know them perhaps in a way that most people don't get to know them because of being a pastor and a spiritual leader. I've had the pleasure of knowing Chelsea. I had the pleasure of earlier in her life, of her confessing Christ and having the opportunity to baptize her in the name of the Lord Jesus. My wife and I were talking about Chelsea a couple of days ago, and we kind of settled on one word that would describe her, and that was sweet. Chelsea was sweet. She had a zest for life. She loved life. She loved to laugh, and she also had a heart. She enjoyed helping people. She enjoyed serving people. She was unique and special and also very ordinary at the same time. After graduating, she wanted to open her own hair salon. This is just a normal human being that wanted to live life and enjoy life and have a great life ahead of her. And so I hope that you'll join me in really lifting up and praying for this family as they navigate through this. This is, as Attorney Crump said, this is a very emotional moment. It's a very difficult moment. But we want you to know that this was a real person who had a zest for life, a real person who was sweet, a real person that added value to so many other people.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for being a light in this time of darkness for the Adolphus family. And as Reverend Bembry said, she was loved. She was loved. And imagine your loved one. Just imagine your loved one dying like this in the freezing Illinois weather by herself, practically naked for hours. And the hospital didn't find her. A citizen found her. That's troubling in and of itself. Where were they looking? Did they review their surveillance videos? Why not? Was it because they had to furlough people? This was an epic profit over patience tragedy. And it shouldn't come to this, to make where they would understand that patience comes before profits. She was loved, and she was loved best by her family. And so this is very difficult, but her brother is going to tell you a little bit about his sister, and about what happened the night he showed up at the hospital. And it's very emotional, but he's speaking for her so that she won't be swept under the rug with so much happening in the world. Oftentimes, we forget about people. This family is saying we cannot forget about Chelsea Adolphus. We must get justice for Chelsea Adolphus. Her brother, Paul Adolphus Jr.
I just want to say that my sister Chelsea, I can feel your presence here with me right now, and I know that you're proud of me for standing for justice, for something that was critically not allowed to happen at all when he was under surveillance of the medical vista in Waukegan. My sister has so much plans together this specific year. For the fact that it hasn't even completed a month in the first year, it broke my heart. My sister really wanted to do a lot of amazing things. The biggest thing we had this year was to open up a restaurant for my mother. Me and my sister had so much ideas about this restaurant for my mother, to bring peace for my mother so she can have something for the family. Thursday morning, I arrived to Waukegan Vista. I asked, where's my sister Chelsea Adolphus? They said, sit here, the nurses will come out. The nurses came out, there was 3 of them. They put me in the family room, and I said, before I asked anything about my sister's health, because I have a strong feeling already that something is off here, may I please ask what happened? 3 of the doctors at Waukegan Vista looked me in my eye and said that Thursday morning, Waukegan PD found my sister down the street at the Family Dollar, approximately sometime between 8:30, that they found my sister unresponsive, laying outside of Family Dollar, that Waukegan police called Vista Medical Center to send for an ambulance, and that the ambulance picked up my sister from Family Dollar and took her to the hospital to get service. That right there was a major lie. My sister never left the facility from when she got there Wednesday. Why look my family in the eye and lie about the day where my sister was found? Why not be honest and say where my sister was found? Why lie and say like someone threw her out on the street like she was a dog? My sister was very loved by many people, different culture all over the world. So my question today is, what were you guys covering? Why lied and said my sister was found at Family Dollar when she never left the facility from the day she was checked in? She was under you guys' permission. My sister was not supposed to be dead. If my sister didn't go to that hospital, I would have still have my sister right now. So we will seek full justice for the family.
Yes, sir.
And we're thankful for Attorney Crump in this difficult time and fighting for our family justice.
Thank you so much, Paul, for speaking up for your sister. She's smiling down from heaven. At this time,
Anything else?
at this time, we will take your questions if you have any.
There are a number of documented failures as far as this hospital system goes already. Can you kind of talk about how that plays into this suit and the known issues within this hospital before Chelsea stepped to the side?
Yes, ma'am. Attorney Pollock and Attorney Parrish and our legal team, we're already gathering up all the evidence of a lot of the things that the coroner articulated. The fact that they did lose their status and credentials at one point, but furthermore, the fact that it was foreseeable. It was foreseeable that they were on notice that if they continued to put profit over patients, that something like this would happen. And yet, it had to come to this to get their attention. And that is a tragedy on top of a tragedy. I will let Attorney Pollock talk if he wants to opine further on that, but you're absolutely correct. It seems to be a systematic failure that led to Chelsea Adolphus dying on that roof in the freezing cold. Yeah, anything?
I'll just add to that as Mr. Crump said, we will find out all of those violations and all of those issues. And yes, they do have an impact on the case because it just goes, as to Mr. Crump said, to what they knew and the behaviors here. But I will add this, and I know that this is very important to the family, that it goes beyond the case. It looks to the community in Waukegan, and when we look at for-profit hospitals and their operation, we have to ensure that if people are getting medical care in their community, they deserve to get that care without profits being put before patients. That is the most important part. So we're here to do justice for the family, but we're also here to do justice for the community.
Absolutely. And the last thing to your question, ma'am, is the fact that, as Paul and his father and us talked earlier, there are surveillance videos. Did they even look? Did they even look for? You know, was it a shortage of people while she wasn't being monitored? You know, all those things come into play with these systematic issues. So we will dot every I, we will cross every T, we will get to the bottom, Paul. As you asked me when we first talked, we will get to the bottom of everything that happened that night. Any further questions? Yes, ma'am. No.
Paul, I'm sorry to ask you about this because I know it's incredibly difficult to talk about, but can you kind of elaborate on who it was within the hospital system who told you and your family that she was found at Family Dollar? I just want to better understand that.
It was the doctors of the Waukegan Vista. It was actually, to be exact with you, it was 8 of them. When 3 of them came out, they told me that in the family room. And then when I went back to see the body of my sister and see how she was doing, and 8 of them surround me in the room and try to mentally make me think that my sister was found outside of Family Dollar to cover Vista Hospital.
How did you know the truth?
The truth came out because of social media. The next day, when my sister was pronounced dead, the next day, I spoke to the director of the hospital, and I just wanted to see what he had to say, if he knew anything about my sister. And he gave me the same story from the Family Dollar scenario. And I said, really? You know, the coroner already released that the body was found on top of the roof, so why lie to me? Then he's like, fine, I'll tell you the truth. Your sister was found on top of the roof, and she was left there. We found her next day, specifically with that reaction. of not caring, having no love or no emotion or caring to even find out what happened.
Thank you, Paul. I know that's very difficult. If there are no further questions, we will make sure that you get the photograph because it really, as good a lawyers as our legal team may be, this tells the whole story. The whole story. We're very thankful to that lady who called Miss Adolphus to tell her after everything became public that I was the one that found your daughter. And I took this photograph from the window. We have the roof of that hospital, and we believe that it was right here, and we'll get you these pictures because there's a window coming from right here where she was found. And we know she was on the 5th floor. That was her room, but it appears she was found on the 2nd level. But as Attorney Pollack said, the lawsuit is the beginning to get into the truth of everything that happened. We will continue to keep you informed. The family is now preparing for homegoing services for Chelsea, so please keep them in your prayers as they try to get through this tragedy. And thank you again, Reverend Marvin Bembry, for your guidance for the family through this very tragic time. And thank you again, Paul, for being able to speak. We will keep you updated. Thank you. You can get a copy of the lawsuit today for those around the country watching virtually. Press at bencrump.com. Whatever you need, we want to make sure you get everything you need. Thank you.